If you see any milk in this, take it to the dealership.
Take it on out.
Yeah, it's time to have it checked.
Okay. So, all right, say I'm getting ready to do say from Jacksonville to Cali, we're talking about 24, so we'll say 2,500 miles one way. So off synthetic oil, do you suggest maybe like this time of year, March, where we know the daytimes are mellow, night times are pretty cold, do you suggest getting an oil change because of the beating of the bike? Do you suggest we get an oil change once you get to the West Coast or the East Coast, or you think we can do the whole trip, round trip?
If you have your oil changed before you leave, you can make a round
trip.
You can make a round trip. These bikes will take 5,000 miles all day, unless you have an oiling issue.
Okay.
Or if your bike uses more oil than normal, in which I think in the catalog or in the standards of Harley, it says that it can use a half a quart of oil every oil change.
Okay.
So if your bike is using that, Harley is going to tell you that's within standard.
Okay.
But again, some bikes don't use no oil in between the 5,000 miles. So it just depends on that bike, how that person rides that bike, and just, if we got bikes that have excessive wear in the cylinders, it's going to use more oil.
Okay. So if you don't mind, Jay, I'm gonna take it back. Okay, say tires. Okay, so obviously we can look at tires and we know we do our normal visual inspection. We're looking for cuts, tears, rips, nails, those type of things, etc.
Yes.
Do you suggest, say, a tire depth gauge to take with us on the road?
Yes,
To be able to check it.
Yes, I
Okay.
do. You should. And the reason why is because, again, that asphalt on those hot roads in the middle of the desert,
Shout out to Texas highways and raggedy behind highways. Yeah.
it's gonna put a beating on those tires, and that's just what it is. If you know you're gonna make a trip like that, and your tires are at the point of where you may think you need to change them or not, go ahead and change them.
Get them off.
Get them replaced.
Okay. So what should I? Okay, man, this is tricky. This is tricky. So I'm getting ready to take a 5,000 mile plus trip. Do you suggest that I start off with brand new tires, or how do I gauge that?
No, there's a depth chart,
Okay.
and all tires have a safety warning on those tires.
Right.
If you are close to that, it's time to get new tires. Don't wait till you get to that point. You should change them before then. Because again, you only got 2 tires.
True.
You're on a motorcycle, when you're on a car, that pavement hurt.
Ain't nothing between you and the pavement except air.
It hurts.
Yeah, and air ain't gonna hold you up. So, well, let me ask you real quick, man. I don't want to steal your thunder, but let me ask you real quick. So, in your opinion, what are some things that would cause a tire to explode on the highway?
Okay, improper inflation would cause that tire to explode. Because again, the more you ride on a tire, the harder it gets. The more tire pressure it gains. If a tire has a worn spot in the area, and you continue riding around, that tire's getting hot, it's going to be a failure at that point on that tire. So you can have a blowout, you can have a tire go flat. No, most of the time blowouts happens at high speed.
Okay.
Which is scary. That is why it's important to make sure you don't have any bubbles on your tires from improper inflation, because what happens is when you ride a tire for so long under inflated, it gets a titty.
Right.
You don't realize it, but it has a titty. When it has a titty, guess what? It's soft there, and that's what explodes.
Explode.
That's what it is.
So could that also come from, you said overinflating the tires?
You can overinflate it too.
And would that come from also underinflated tires, you think?
Most of it comes from
Overinflation?
underinflating. Because what happens is when you underinflate them and you
Right.
ride them for so long,
Right.
they get squishy. And then
Right.
now you say, oh, my tire's low. So you put more air pressure in your tire. Well, you already damaged the tire now. The tire been damaged because you've been riding for so long with it inflated improperly.
Right.
To now, it's a ticking time bomb, as they call it.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay.
So,
So is there a specific tire pressure for, if it is, I ain't seen it, but, cause obviously there's some tandem riders out there. There's gonna be people who are gonna have extra gear on their bike because they're going long distance. How do we figure that out?
Okay, with that said, each tire has a maximum and a minimum tire pressure.
Okay.
If you have all of this extra gear, if you know your bike, you lugging it over the capacity of that tire, you might want to inflate it a little bit because you don't want it sagging. Because the sag is what damaged the tire.
Okay. Okay. So tires, I think we said.
Yeah,
tires. So I'll let you move on, sir. Any? Okay.
A lot of guys on Harleys, you're gonna laugh at this. The guys that have clutch cables on their bikes.
Okay.
You always see them, a lot of guys like their clutch cable, it's got a lot of play in it before it disengage. What people don't know is the more play you have in your clutch, the more you're not disengaging your clutch when you're riding or when you're switching gears. What happens over time is you wear the dogs down that actually holds the transmission gears in place. So over time, what you do is, because you cannot disengage it properly, it's eating at the gears. The more you eat at the gears, now what happens is, now you gotta have a transmission.
Yikes. Yikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's bad news.
That's bad news.
That's real bad news.
Especially
Yeah.
if you're out there on the highway on the road.
Right. Wow.
When your bike won't stay in gear.
So I'll be looking for, say, a lot of play in the clutch
Yes.
when I'm engaged. So when I engage the clutch, how would that feel? What?
Okay. This is how it feels. If you get on your bike and you go to start it, as soon as you start it with the clutch engaged in first gear and it starts moving, you don't have enough pull on your clutch. It's not proper.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that. So when you initially get on a bike,
Right.
the oil in between the plates and the steels are sitting there, so they're holding them. The clutch is supposed to disengage it. Well, what happens is, if you can't pull it all the way in, the clutch ain't disengaged enough, so it's still touching. The steels and the fibers are still touching. So what happens is,
Just keep moving on. I got you.
you know, you ever seen those guys be at the light and they sitting there and their bike moving up? The clutch ain't properly set.
Okay.
But on these newer bikes, well, I say on the newer bikes, but they went back to the cable on the newer bikes.
Right.
The ones that have the hydraulics, you cannot disengage or set that. It's automatically set based off the master cylinder.
Okay.
So once the master cylinder start going bad, that bike will do the exact same thing.
Okay. Very cool.
So,
Okay.
yeah, that's one of those things. You know, a lot of us that have these bikes, we go and get a lot of stuff done to them. We get stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, all of it. Make sure when you get in your bike service that they check your air filter. Because just like our lungs, this is what this is. Make sure it's clean, so it's constantly getting fresh air. Fresh air in your motorcycle. Your bike likes fresh air.
For sure.
Once this filter is dirty and got all this oil in it, you're not getting pure fresh air. And your bike, as for performance, is actually hurting the bike.
Okay.
So,
obviously we got guys who use the filters that use the rain socks. Then we got the normal Screaming Eagle.
Yes,
Screaming Eagle
Eagle
filters.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I put a lot of Screaming Eagles on, and a lot of guys with the filters, they always ask, with the cover. Hey, when it's raining, is this gonna hurt the bike? No, it's not. It's not gonna hurt the bike. It does reduce the airflow a little bit.
Okay.
But it's also helping not to get water
Right.
inside of your
Right.
throttle body.
So, okay, I'm looking at yours on here.
Yes, sir.
So, okay. This is just a custom cover, then.
It's just a custom cover.
Okay. Okay. So, do you still have to put a
Rain
sock on there when you do yours?
I should.
Okay.
But I don't ride this one in the rain.
And it's,
So-
this is a showpiece.
This bike is,
Yeah.
I built this bike for all of those guys who have, it's a 132, it's got an S&S,
She ain't no game. It's no games. I'm just saying.
she rolls, and I put some wood cams in it and I tuned it. This bike right here, just riding on a day-to-day basis with stock injectors, stock manifold, and throttle body on a 132 is pushing 140 horsepower and 159 pounds of torque. For me, that's more than enough because I have a street bike that I drag race also. So for my daily cruiser, that's more than enough horsepower for the average person.
Hey, this is pimping here. This is pimping. That's what's up. Okay.
So for all you guys, like I said, for your performance, because a lot of Harley guys, you know, we transition from sport bikes, so we still want that performance on our Harleys. And these new bikes, guess what? You can get all the performance you want out of them. They are excellent motorcycles. Harleys, up until, like, I guess